and welcome to this afternoon's edition of Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Like we always do, consistently, we're excited to have you here, excited to hear from you, excited to make sure that you're part of the Fiifi-Manfred family. It's an ever-growing family. So, of course, if you're new to the channel, I want to say thank you. Welcome to the channel. Of course, if you're a member of the family still, we want to say thank you very much for choosing us. If you're new, don't forget to pause the video now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification. It's imperative that we do so because we want to hear from you. We want to make you a member of the community. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you in the comment section. So do send in your comments right there. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you agree, what you disagree on tomorrow. There are lots of the games in English Premier League, a lot of the games in the Italian Serie A. There are lots of the games all across the world, and you want to hear from us. So that's exactly why we are bringing you tomorrow all the analysis tonight. Of course, you've seen it already in the morning. The morning's analysis I've gone through this evening. So like I said, these days, 10 a.m. in the morning and then 4 p.m. each day, giving you two sets of updates, morning updates and afternoon updates. So yeah, thank you very much for choosing me on Fiifi-Manfred. It's with that same passion that Jurgen Klopp goes in front of the cup and punches the air that I sit here to do this job for you. So I'm grateful for everything that you've done for me. And then let us kick start into the conversation. There is a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack. So stick and stay. There is going to be the Manchester Derby this weekend in the English Premier League. And what a game that is going to be. What a game that is going to be. The Manchester Derby is going to be on this weekend. It has a tendency of being a blockbuster of a game. I'll tell you why Eric Ten Hag's team are well set up against Josep Guardiola's team. In terms of central blocking, in terms of transitioning of games, Eric Ten Hag's team are good at it. They also have the personalities and the personnel to make sure they turn things around. It's a difficult game. Man United also have to go to Anfield in the FA Cup quarter-final game, which is a very difficult one. We'll talk about all of those stuff. And then, of course, we'll talk about what all the managers have said in their pre-match press conferences and everything that's going on in there. There's an Italian Serie A that will also come on tomorrow. We'll have a little bite into it in terms of a preview. Then we'll talk about all the games that will go on tonight. Of course, there's one big game that's going on tonight. It's Lazio versus AC Milan. Lazio versus AC Milan. It's a tough game for both sides, especially on the Italian Serie A table. Internazionale Milan are doing a brilliant job by opening up the gap at the top. Juventus are about 8 points away from them, and Milan are hoping to about 16. Oh, hey, because it's 69-53, 16 points between Inter Milan and AC Milan. What a gap that is over there. But Stefan Pioli would want to keep up the pressure on Lazio. Mind you, one of the best tactical teams in the Italian Serie A is Mauricio Sarri's Lazio side. They are very solid. I've told you that before. One of the biggest issues Mauricio Sarri had with his teams was the compactness that they lacked, the physicality to win duels, the middle third that they failed to make sure they hold up games. They failed to make things happen in the middle third of games. But with time, especially in that game that they played against FC Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel, you could tell that this is a team that's compact. In terms of compactness and central blockade, they are a mass. And it's going to just make this game mouth-watering, a mouth-watering game between Lazio and then AC Milan. Then tomorrow, there are a host of games that are going to go on in there. We'll talk about all of that back to back. There's a lot to talk about. Madrid are preparing to go and play against Valencia, away at Valencia. There's Jude Bellingham that has returned in that game. There's Joselu that's returned for that game. And then you know already, anytime that there is Jude Bellingham, Carlo Ancelotti goes into his 4-1-2-1-2 middle third shape to make sure that he creates chances up top. So it's a 4. Orient Chimeni is going to sit in here. Depends on the centre back pair that they are going to have. Of course, Jude Bellingham is going to play right behind the attacker in here for Real Madrid. It's a quality team they are going to play against Valencia. The Valencia side are not playing as well as we used to know them in the Spanish La Liga. Madrid are on top of the Spanish La Liga with 65 points. Girona 59.6 points difference between the two. Barcelona with 57 points in there. 9 points between the two, and then Atletico Madrid with 52. So it tells you Valencia are on 9th position with 36, trying to climb up to get some qualification. Tomorrow, there is also Brentford versus Chelsea in there. The preview will give it all of that to you here. Also, a big game that's going on. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest, And then on Sunday, there is a big one between Manchester City and then Manchester United in that ever important Manchester derby in there. So we'll talk about all of that for you. Stick and stay. Let us start with this even before we preview the games. There's a lot to talk about in terms of tidbits. Then we'll come back and preview the games into detail. We'll start with the Chelsea game. So stick and stay in there for Chelsea football. So in the morning, I told you that there were reports that yesterday there was Joe Shields that went to the Stadio de Dragao to go and see Lisbon versus Benfica. Their plan was to look at the first-hand methods of Ruben Amorim and to see how he was able to inspire his team in a big game like that against Benfica, against Roger Smith's Benfica. And mind you, Chelsea have history with Roger Smith and then Benfica and then Enzo Fernandez in there. So it was more like a cameo for the Chelsea entourage in there. They saw Victor Gyökeres, he got a goal. Chelsea have some slight reservations of Victor Gyökeres. We'll talk about that later. But then the more perspective that is in is how they view Ruben Amorim. They view him as somebody who is doing an excellent job. But the reservation is if he can move from just coaching a team like Sporting Lisbon and then transition to the higher ambition of Chelsea. That's just the reservation that Chelsea have with the quality of Ruben Amorim as a coach. In terms of the tactical display, playing with a three at the back and building, using Ousmane Diamondi and then Inacio at the back, and using excellent wing backs that opens up with two sitting DMs that receive the ball in the central areas and stay close to each other. And that's the issue with Mauricio Pochettino's setup. And then making sure that Victor Gyökeres is the marauding central force from central areas and darting in between the two center backs. It's very good principles for a manager like Ruben Amorim. The problem is the charisma. Can he transmit that into a team of the caliber like Chelsea? That is where Chelsea's entourage have a little belief and a little. That's a little gray area in arriving at the conclusion that Ruben Amorim should be the man at Chelsea. So wait to see that goes on. There's breaking news. Chelsea have considered some goals from set pieces this season, and in terms of the data part of the team, one of the recommendations that have been sent to Todd Boehly and Baghdadi about the team and in terms of its performances, in terms of improving performances, was that Chelsea has to hire a set piece coach. You remember Anthony Barry was with Thomas Tuchel's backroom staff. It was important for them in terms of set piece preparation, dealing with set pieces and the likes. Chelsea lost that Carabao Cup final to a Virgil van Dijk set piece, and whilst Mauricio Pochettino has played it down that his team doesn't suffer from set pieces. Set pieces are very important. And I remember one time speaking to a coach that says that set pieces are the closest you can go from somebody's penalty area in a dead ball situation apart from a penalty. So you ought to make the most out of it. You need to try to make the most out of it. And if you look at how Chelsea have considered some goals from set pieces, considering that goal in the Carabao Cup final from a set piece, it is in there. The report has been sent to Todd Boehly and Baghdad Eghbali in there to hire a set piece coach in there, set piece coach for Chelsea going forward. And they want to do all of that stuff, and it's under review for them. Yesterday, we heard that Fabrizio Romano was saying extensively that Liverpool are quietly confident about getting the signature of Xabi Alonso. They're speaking with their legend, the former Liverpool player, the former Madrid star, and then of course the former Bavarian that plays for FC Bayern Munich. The truth is that Bayern wants Xabi Alonso, Liverpool wants Xabi Alonso, Madrid of course is off the table, but that is where the big tag of war comes in. Who gets Xabi Alonso? Madrid, Bayern, Liverpool. I think that Liverpool have a slight edge because they believe that they can get him. They believe that he's more of a Liverpool fan, a Liverpool player, a Liverpool legend than a Bayern legend. But then again, mind you, he has some of his best times also at Bayern under Josep Guardiola, where he himself has said that his gamesmanship, the part of his game transformed to the highest level under Josep Guardiola. And we know already that if there is a best player, there is a best coach in the German Bundesliga, Bayern do everything possible to make sure that they get them. It is only when they pass on them that they allow these top players to go out of the German Bundesliga. Bayern and Barcelona are also looking at replacing their manager. One of the names in there has been Roberto De Zerbi. In his pre-match press conference today, Roberto De Zerbi has told everybody that he's only focusing on Brighton and Hove Albion, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with anything Barcelona. So they should allow him to do his work with Brighton and Hove Albion. Nothing about Barcelona, nothing about any other club, but he's focusing on Brighton and hope beyond in there. So that's it with the tidbits in here. We'll get into the conversation proper and the analysis that we have to do in the games that are coming up in the English Premier League. Tomorrow, I've told you about Lazio versus AC Milan. There's Chelsea versus Brentford tomorrow, talking about set piece. So, in previewing the Chelsea versus Brentford game, if you've been following my work by now, you know that I've said that if as and when Simeone Inzaghi will be leaving International Milan, one manager that should be looked at in terms of taking that 3-back system to even a slight notch higher should be Brentford's Thomas Frank, because it's exciting. Very, very exciting. One of the best managers that you can get. A manager that understands the 3-back systems. And I think that in terms of the English Premier League, apart from Arsenal and Villa, he is a team that makes the most of set pieces as well. So having Ivan Toney back, having Brian Mbeumo back, having Wissa back, it makes it even more difficult for Chelsea in there. And if you are going to have teams that makes it very difficult for you to play against them, Neil Mopey and the likes, then you know that it's a tough game that you are going to play. And that's exactly where that game is going to look like. It's a game that hangs in the balance. Physically, Brentford are as good as Chelsea. Technically, they play in a very solid 3-back system. That's going to mean that Chelsea will have to try and stretch them. And then if they try to overload them, of course, the wing back and the outside centre back are going to do a good job in stopping them. So this is exactly how it's going to look like a 5 at the back, but it's shaped like a U in there like that. And then their 2 DM will sit right in front of them and shuffle from left to right anytime, just so they deal with Chelsea's players in between the lines. Now, what Chelsea have to do is that, one, switch play quickly. When your ball goes from here to here, Chelsea ought to switch play quickly, especially when the wing back has come inside to come and press. When the wing backs have come inside, if you win the ball from this side, then you ought to switch play to this winger so you can isolate him 1v1 quicker, and then he can get a job done in there. That's one of the things that Chelsea ought to do against their team. Also, I think that this is a game where Chelsea need to be turned on and excellent in terms of dealing with set plays. I wouldn't mind if Chelsea goes into this game with a 3-back, honestly, and plays Levi Cole in that hybrid left back role. So he helps in build back. He helps also with height in terms of defending set pieces. And it does well in terms of the third dimension. It's important because Brentford are going to be a very, very difficult side to play against, especially in between the lines when you want to progress with Enzo Fernandez and then Moises Caicedo in there. You have aggressive players in the middle of the pack to make it very difficult for you to play through central areas. And I think that's where so Brian Mbeumo was still injured in there. And the 3 centre back is Zanka, Arger, and then Collins. And we're expecting to have Frank Onyeka, Christian Norgard, and Johnson in the middle of the pack, to have Sergio De Jong as one of the fullbacks, then Neil Mopey, and then of course Ivan Toney up top as the centre forwards in there for the team. And as I'm saying, Chelsea ought to switch quickly, push very higher, and then make sure that they counter press and press them very, very well. Because of course they have players that can hit Chelsea. We're expecting a similar lineup to what Chelsea played with in the last few days in the FA Cup, so that we see how that game can go. See how that game can go tomorrow. We'll do a much more detailed analysis in there for you in the English Premier League in there. We'll talk about it. Manchester Derby also tomorrow. So stick and stay with us. This Miss, and has always been Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel like I always do. It's imperative. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. We want to hear from you, and make sure we hear from you in the comment section. My name still remains Fiifi.